Giggly Gorilla Studios coming at you live from the trees of New York City, baby. We've probably already been here for a previous episode. I know we've at least been in the sewers of New York, Everest, when we talked about the Ninja
We
Turtles.
yeah, we have been in the sewers. I don't know if we've been above ground here. So a little
First,
bit of a
first
new
time for
environment.
everything.
Yeah, first time
Finally
for
here.
everything.
It's New York. There's way too many people. Streets are dirty as hell. But it's the
So many
winter,
people,
so
dude.
there's plenty of snow.
It is the winter, dude. Although we don't have much snow where I live. I live super up north. There's like not that much snow here. Global warming is going crazy, but it's Christmas time.
It is,
That's
which
right.
is kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I feel like it really creeped up on us this year. I don't know. It's still, I'm still like registering that it's even December and is in like 5 days.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
what
feel
the
that.
hell, man?
Halloween was like 2 weeks ago in my mind. I'm like,
Yeah, I know, right?
I was
I'm like,
watching,
Thanksgiving
I was
was just
watching
the other
horror
day,
movies.
man. It wasn't a month ago.
How did we get here already? But in the spirit of Christmas, Braden and I decided that we would talk about a Christmas movie, and it also happens to be this Christmas movie's 20th anniversary, which is pretty hype. That being the John Favreau film. How we doing, Braden?
I forgot John Favreau was actually in the movie, to be honest, until he showed up. I'm
He
like,
is
dang,
in the movie. I
how long has it been since I've seen this? Because I should remember him being in it.
Yeah, it was kind of a shock to see him. We'll get into that. Elf. So I guess a little backstory. Elf has been one of my favorite Christmas movies for a long time. I was excited to get to watch it again. I know you aren't as high on it as me, but I feel like I've kind of like shown you the greatness of Elf again now, and you're like, it's pretty good.
Elf is one of those movies. I never hated it or anything. I never even disliked it. Like I just thought, oh, it's Elf, you know.
Mhm.
I feel like as I've gotten older, I've watched this movie more, so maybe that's a reason I appreciate it more. Yeah, I just watched it more, and like I don't know, there's a lot more stuff you can grasp onto, like as you get older, because like you were saying before we started
Yeah.
recording, there's like a lot of humor that kind of like pushes it sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get into some of that. I think it just has a lot to offer to like all demographics. Like I liked this movie a lot when I was a kid. It definitely does a good job of upholding Christmas spirit if you
You
are
know,
like a kid, still believes in Santa or whatever. Like it does that for you. But then as you get older, there's a lot of jokes and humor in here and just themes that I feel like resonate more with you as you grow up. So
yeah,
I
I
think
feel
it's
like as a kid too, like it's hard to just to use a general phrase, like put yourself in another person's shoes. So like
mm,
Buddy the elf is this human. He grew up with a bunch of elves. So like yeah, sure, he still had a family, but he's never known his real family. He doesn't know his real dad. His real dad is still out there. So like that
mm,
part of the story, it's like the main plot point of the movie. And like if that doesn't resonate to you, then I don't know how the movie's gonna go.
yeah, that's true. But I feel like when you're younger, it's kind of more about like, oh, this is so funny that like there's a giant elf who thinks he's an elf and comes to New York City, and it's like the whole fish out of water thing. As I grow up more, I kind of resonate more with the like him trying to find his family and fit in and get his dad to like appreciate him.
And yeah,
For the heart.
I really like quadrant movies like that, where like as a kid you can enjoy it, like
Hmm.
and a lot of the more complex and personal things might go over your head, but there's still stuff for you to enjoy, so you'll enjoy the film. And as you get older, you can appreciate that other stuff, and like just adds a whole nother layer to the film.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Will Ferrell's in this movie. He's the lead. This is probably my favorite Will Ferrell performance. I'd have to like make sure of that, but I think he's awesome in this movie. He's hit and miss for me. Sometimes I love him. Sometimes he's just doing too much, or I don't think he's that funny. I think he's great in this movie. I think he works perfectly.
Yeah, I think he's really good in this movie. I'd probably agree. Off of anything I can think of top of my head anyway, it's his best performance.
Yeah, I I love how like seriously he takes it, like in terms of being this elf, because it's so funny when he will just give deadpan deliveries to like the most goofy North Pole stuff ever. Like people will just be, "Where are you from?" He's like, "The North Pole, of course." Like he just straight deadpan, like so serious about it. It's hilarious. I love
I
his
love when
performance.
he gets a job at the mall and he's like, and they're like, this is the North Pole. And he's like, no, it's not.
No,
And they're
it's
like,
not.
yeah, yeah, it is. And he's like, no, it's not.
Oh,
And then he sees
believe me.
Santa and he's like, oh, Santa! And he gets closer to him. He's like, "You're not Santa." He's like, "Yeah, I am, buddy. I'm Santa." He's like, "Oh yeah, what did I give you for your birthday then? Or what song did I sing you for your birthday?" And he's like,
Yeah, with
"Whoa, happy
happy
birthday, of
birthday.
course." He
No,
ripped his beard off. He's like, "I told you, he's a fake." Fake.
all that stuff is so
This
good.
is a grown man dressed as an elf exposing a fake mall Santa in front of a bunch of children.
It's so
Uh,
goofy. I love
this,
I love also when he stays like basically the whole night at his job, like decorating it like the North Pole. And then his boss comes in the morning, and his boss is like afraid for his job because he's like, man, they must have sent in some professionals to do this from corporate. Hey, we got to be in this thing together because if I go, we all go. And it was just Buddy, like, oh my god, it's so charming. But I guess the movie does actually start in the North Pole, which I think is a pretty interesting choice, at least from a directorial perspective, to have to show the North Pole. I think it's pretty funny. I like all of the opening scenes where they're showing Buddy like living and learning with the rest of the elves, and he's just way bigger than them. I don't remember exactly how they did that, but it all looks pretty good still today, and I think it's funny.
when he runs outside before he's like gonna leave to go to New York. He runs outside and he just hits his head on the thing because he's taller than the actual building is.
Yeah, so many fun moments like that. He's like showering and he's just like way too big for the bathtub and the shower, and
No, when
it's
the
great.
other elves are like, he overhears the other elves talking, and he's like, if he doesn't realize he's a human now, he's never going to. And he's like, huh? And then he just having like flashes to all those moments where he's way too big. He's like, that checks out.
Oh, that would make sense. This is also kind of where we see most of an underrated aspect of this movie, I guess, which is the relationship between Buddy and Papa Elf, like from the North Pole. I think
Man, Papa
their
Elf was a real one, man.
Papa Elf is such a real one, and I love their relationship. I love how he really has raised him as his own son because he always kind of wanted kids. I think they say early in the movie and never could, and so he kind of adopts Buddy, and he's always there for him, and he's okay with Buddy going to find his real dad. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow,
And that's he's kind of narrating that
that's
first
so
part. He's
great.
giving us the spill on Buddy. He's like, yeah, Buddy, he's a human. He was given birth to by a woman named Susan Welsh. She put him up for adoption. His father never knew he was born. So yeah, an elf adopted
And
Buddy from I.
by the way, the way he gets to the North Pole is he literally like crawls out of his crib while Santa is coming and just crawls into the present day. Like it's so silly, and then Santa just doesn't notice.
Yeah, he doesn't notice a crying child in his bag.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that where you have to kind of suspend disbelief in this movie, but it's all so charming that I don't really care. Like most of it works for me. I'm never really like, oh, come on, that's stupid. I'm like, it's just
I
funny.
mean,
It's just
he's a
charming.
human that thinks he's an elf. He grew up around elves. You're gonna have to suspend some disbelief.
Yeah, of course. But
And
yeah,
oh,
Buddy finds out.
when Santa tells him your dad, he's on the naughty list. But he's
Oh,
like,
that's like a
what?
no, not my
No.
dad. Yeah, it's like a huge thing for him.
And they just
He's
show him
just
like
so
a shot of him being a dick.
yeah. But yeah, Buddy finds out, he has a father, decides he wants to go see him. So we get this like big montage of him traveling to New York City through like there's all these just narwhals and he's like riding on an iceberg. It's all so goofy, but I love how seriously Jon Favreau takes like directing this. I think this is one of his earliest directorial features. I know he did more after this, but I think he does a really good job here. He is also in the movie as a doctor, which I had also forgotten about. When he turned around, and it was Jon Favreau. I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
Happy Hogan, that's crazy." But obviously, Buddy gets to New York, and then it kind of turns into a big fish out of water story, which I do think has gotten kind of old today. Like, if I see another fish out of water story similar to this, I'm kind of like over it. But every time I go back to it here, I think it's done with such a like sincerity. And when he gets to New York and he's just running across the streets because he doesn't know about cars and like how he has to wait for them and he's almost getting hit. I think it's so silly. I love it. I do love this movie. So Fish Out of Water stuff is great. He meets his dad. The dad's played by James Caan. So hey, rest in peace. It's crazy that he's in this movie.
Every time I see this movie, I think it's wild that he's in it.
It makes no sense. And I watched like some documentary on this, and basically everyone involved with it was shocked they got him to do this project because James Caan was in. I mean, he got his breakthrough in like The Godfather. Like he was a serious dramatic actor. Obviously, he's awesome in Misery, which I need to rewatch. That would be a good one to do. It's not really a Christmas movie, but there's a lot of snow, so maybe I'll pop Misery on in the next couple days here. But I love him in that film. Every time I watch this movie, he's like one of the standouts. I think James Caan is so great. He does such a good job of portraying that like angry, just like workaholic who's obsessed with making money, doesn't seem to care about his family, but then he has an arc throughout the film that I think is really charming and well done. So he's a big part of what makes this one work.
Oh yeah, definitely. If his whoever maybe was cast in that role didn't like give a good performance, this movie would probably fall apart because it like really hinges on James Caan and Will Ferrell for the most part.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's a lot of early on, like James Caan is not happy, doesn't even believe that like Buddy is his son, which obviously,
Oh
why would
yeah,
you? I
he
would not.
shows up to the Empire State Building. He's like, I'm here to. I think he says I'm here to see my father. He gives
I'm here to see my dad. Yeah,
yeah the name, and she calls him, and she's like, yeah, I think you have a Christmas telegram here. And he just comes in. He's like, all right. Somebody's just singing. He's like, you're my dad, and I'm here, and
yeah,
Susan, she gave birth to me, and you never knew I was born. And he's like, wait, Susan Wells? Who sent
yeah.
this telegram?
Yeah, it's so good. I just love Will Ferrell's like confidence and just willingness to go for it in this role because this would be a lot of the stuff is pretty embarrassing. Like that's part of what makes this movie funny is Buddy is just doing just super embarrassing stuff the whole movie, but Will
Yeah.
Ferrell gives it his all, and I love him for that. But yeah, that's a great moment. James Caan is like, no way, like what, who is this clown? Doesn't really believe him until, obviously the whole Susan Wells thing kind of makes him wonder. So then he goes to Jon Favreau eventually and is like, okay, we got to sit this guy down and find out if he's my son. And Buddy's like eating the cotton balls that are in the jar. James Caan is like, don't do that.
Oh, what
Don't
was
eat
it he
that.
said earlier with the elves when like he only made like 84, 85 toys and I think he was like 900 behind. He's like, I'm just a cottonhead, like nanny muggins or whatever he said, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, buddy,
No,
you're not a cottonhead nanny muggins.
he did not say that. But yeah,
Like, bro, I want to
uh,
chill in one of those elf workshops one day. It seems so fun there.
I know. Buddy also does get thrown into jail at one point, for kind of early on. Which hey, I'm
It
surprised
was
he
bound to
did not.
happen.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he
that should have
didn't.
happened sooner.
I'm surprised
I
he didn't
mean,
get an
this guy was.
extended visit.
Yeah, I'm surprised he only spent that amount of time in jail. He's literally like almost spying on Jovi as
He
she
shouldn't
takes
even be in like a
power.
prison. He should just be put in a penitentiary at this point.
Yeah,
Put
he
him in an
definitely.
asylum. Get this
That's
man the help he needs.
what's what's so great is like everything he's doing. He does look like a absolute nut job, but to him, it's all like real. Like he believes
It
everything
is
he's
all
saying
real too. Like he's actually
because
not
he,
crazy, but it seems that way to
but it
literally
seems
everyone.
to everyone else that he is like actually insane. I love
My
one of
only
my favorite
question is,
moments.
how did he survive in the North Pole all those years? Like how is it not too cold for like
Adaptation. I
human?
don't know. I mean, I'm guessing he just like his
Just chilled
body
inside.
adapted because
Yeah, I'm
like
sure they got heat.
we see
Santa's
while
definitely
he's
got heat.
Santa's got heat. There's no way he's been doing this too long. He's old now. He's like, we got to get replaced. But also we see him like walking with his brother, and he's like making fun of his huge coat. He's like, why are you wearing that? Like he definitely seems to not be affected by cold at this point.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear gloves the entire movie. One of my favorite like things I wanted to bring up. I don't know if it's at the hospital or at his dad's building, wherever he's talking to one of the little girls, and he's like, "I'm an elf who was raised by humans," and then the little girl just completely with like total sincerity is like, "Oh, I'm a human raised by humans." And
I
Buddy's
think that
like,
was in the hospital. Yeah,
yeah, and Buddy's like, oh, nice. Like, it's one of my favorite
she's just like,
moments.
I'm a humans that was raised by humans.
Yeah, he just says it.
That's good.
Uh,
That's good to know.
yeah, I think a lot of my favorite comedic stuff though comes from Buddy and Michael, his younger brother, when they start to hang out. Buddy picks him up from school. Michael's like, I don't know this guy. I've never seen him before in my life. And
And he's
then
like, I'm your brother, buddy.
I'm coming, yeah. And then literally the moment that makes me laugh the hardest in this entire film, which is so childish, but it's the snowball fight. It's when they get
Of the
into a
snowball
snowball
fight. I'm like,
fight.
bro, I wish I could throw a mean snowball like Buddy. And
Yeah,
it's
and
after the
Buddy's like,
snowball fight that Michael's like, well, where did you say you were from?
yeah. But that snowball fight is so funny. They get cornered, and Michael's like, "Oh man, we gotta run," and Buddy's like, "We can take him. Start making as many snowballs as you can." And Michael gets like one, and he turns around, and Buddy has like two armfuls, and he just starts. He's just the greatest snowball thrower known to mankind. Like he's just the goat. He
He's
machines
fast pitching
them
those
at him.
motherfuckers.
He is fast pitching them. He hits them with a Patrick Mahomes like midair sidearm to nail the last guy in the face, and then he throws just an absolute bomb over top to the guy who escaped. What an athlete! I mean, just an incredible feat of athleticism there from our guy, Bud.
Just imagine those kids
Um,
are like just totally unconscious. The
hey,
impact
that
that the snowball had.
he was whipping those. It's like wow.
Buddy the Elf was
But
a Mortal Kombat character. His fatality would just be rolling up like a giant snowball and then throwing it through your body.
yeah, that would kill pretty much anybody. I think. Sub Zero does not stand a chance against Buddy the Elf. But I love that. I love that scene. I love when they get home and they're putting up the Christmas tree, and then they're like, "How are we gonna?" And Michael's like, "How are we gonna get the star on top?" And Buddy just like jumps off of the couch, fully like going into the tree, and then just falls over with the tree. There's so much great physical comedy, but you also feel like there's a connection that grows between him and Michael, and it really works for me. Like I love when they see Jovi and Michael's like wingman for him. He's like, you gotta ask her out, like the food. That's like a code girl tab, and he has like no idea what he's saying, but he's trying to help him out. It's great.
You gotta ask her out for like food. Then if she says yes, you're in.
Yeah,
And we're just like, not quite that simple, Michael. Not quite.
yeah. What do you think about the relationship between Buddy and Jovi? Because to me, it is kind of the one part of the story that feels a little bit like undercooked. Like it doesn't get that much time to develop. Like I do think it's sweet. I like Jovi as a character, but they go on one date and it's just kind of goofy, and then they're together. I feel like if anything in this film needs more time, it's that relationship. But that could just be
I don't know. It's I like that the romance never annoyed me in this. So
yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know if I would want more time or not because I think they did mostly what they needed to with it. Like I
Mhm.
really liked her as a character. I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like you don't see them together a ton, but like there's still moments where like when she's watching the TV later on and they're like, oh, we spotted an elf roaming through a man dressed as an elf roaming through Central Park, and she's like looking at the blurred close up and she's like, oh, she goes out
Yeah.
to
I
go
love
find him.
a big section of this movie is his dad and is just so pissed off and he's like, we can't leave him at the house, and his wife got to work, so Buddy has to go to work with his dad. And I love the scene where he sends him down to the mailroom and he just gets wasted with this guy he just
Oh
meets.
yeah, he's like, you have syrup? I love syrup in my coffee. Do you mind if I have some? He's like, go for it. And it's liquor, and he
Yeah,
just
and
pours like the
he
whole
puts
bottle,
all
and
the
then he
liquor
cuts
in.
to him and the other dude being blasted, just drunk as hell.
Yeah. They're laying out on the like eggs or whatever that are there in the carts, and they're just
Dude,
talking.
it's kind
They're
of sad too
shooting the
because that
shit.
other dude's like, man, I'm 26 and I don't have anything to show for my life and whatever. And Buddy's just like, you're so young. You're so young.
You've got time. He's so optimistic. Like Buddy really is the best friend. Let's be honest. I want to get wasted.
I would love to get wasted with Buddy.
And then they cut to James Caan's phone call gets interrupted because they're like, "There's a disturbance in the mailroom," and it cuts to Buddy
Oh yeah,
like doing
he's
a
on the
crazy
phone with Michael Finch, which is like the biggest writer in all the world apparently.
Miles
Miles
Finch.
Finch, that's it.
Yeah,
Miles
he's on the
Finch.
phone with him,
Yes.
and he gets interrupted, and he's like, "What could possibly be happening in the mailroom?" And Buddy is absolutely going on a table. He is hitting
They're
50 times.
partying down there, man. They're having the time of their life. They got music going. They're fucking
Yeah,
blasted.
yeah, Buddy's going crazy on the dance floor. It's great. And then the next big kind of business thing is Miles Finch, the esteemed writer, comes in and they're hearing his pitch out, and Buddy comes in right after his
Yeah,
date and
Miles Finch,
Joey.
played by Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage, bro, what a guy! I sometimes forget he's in this movie too. Like I know he's in it, but
Yeah,
whenever
I
he
always
shows up,
remember him.
I'm like, hey, it's Peter
I
Dinklage.
forget that Buddy comes in and calls him an elf, but I remember that he's in
He
this movie.
he calls him
I'm
an
like,
elf
oh,
so many
dang. I
times.
was like, dang, John Favreau,
I know. That's
you
one of these
went there,
times.
man.
That's one of the times where I'm like, wow, this made it into.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
Peter
just
Dinklage was
calling.
fine with it, obviously.
No, of course. And hey, he
I
gets his
love when he
revenge
just
'cause
charges that Buddy,
he
lays
runs
his
out
ass on the
and
ground.
then he
Just dude, the
lays
close
out
up
for.
shots they're doing of this, like when he's positioning Buddy, just of his like Daisy looks so angry. I'm like, this is perfect.
It's so funny. I love the like full on Power Ranger style kick that he hits. Buddy
I
with.
was really surprised that Buddy didn't get his ass kicked before this.
Oh yeah, I mean this again, long time ago. I mean he kind of does get his ass kicked a little bit in the mall early on when he pisses off with Santa Claus or
Yeah, with the
whatever.
Santa.
Yeah, Santa kind of goes in on him, but it's nothing compared to what Peter Dinklage does. I mean this guy's going in on him. He's like, "Call me Elf one more time." Buddy does it, and he just starts wailing
He
on
was
him
like,
more.
he's an angry elf.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that kind of leads to I guess the entrance into the third act where James Caan basically says he wants nothing to do with Buddy. He needs to leave and kicks Buddy out essentially. Buddy, all right, and it's my goat, Michael, that realizes Buddy's gone and knows that he needs to fix it. So he goes into his dad's room. He's like giving the pitch to his boss, and I love this scene where he's like, okay, like he listens to his son finally. He's like, okay, we can do this another time, right? And his James Caan's boss is like, no, what the heck? And he starts like
He's
being
like, I
mean to his
flew in
son.
just to see this pitch, or just to listen to this pitch. You're gonna give me this pitch.
Yeah, and then he says something mean to Michael, and James Caan is like, don't tell my son what to do.
Dude,
And
I
that's
was
the
thinking
first
about this
time.
the whole time. I'm just like, man, it's Christmas Eve. They're giving a pitch. This dude flew in just to listen to a pitch. I'm like, why are y'all even giving pitches on Christmas Eve, bro? It's Christmas
Yeah,
Eve.
that's crazy.
There's a
They
good
should
way
all
to
be.
avoid all this. Just give people time with their freaking families, man.
Yeah, they should all be at home with their families. But I love this scene where James Caan finally is like, you know what? I've had enough. And he puts his foot down with his boss. His boss is like, you're fired if you don't give this pitch. And I think James Caan says in like such a James Caan fashion, he's like, well, up yours. And he leaves with his son,
Yeah.
and they go find Buddy. I love it.
I guess what finally got through to him was his son, like his son that he's known all the
Yeah,
since the day he was born, was like, you don't care about anyone but yourself. He's like, oh shit.
he's like, damn,
He's
kind of true.
like, yeah,
And
Buddy's gone. I'm concerned. Buddy cares about everyone, and you don't care about anyone but yourself. I was like, oh,
oh,
tell him, Michael.
well, that's kind of set up by when Michael and Buddy are hanging out. Buddy's like, man, our dad's just the best dad in the whole
Oh,
world.
yeah.
And Michael's
He's like, no, he's
what?
not.
He's the
He's like
worst.
the worst dad in the world. And
Yeah.
he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, he's never home. He's always at work. He cares more about
Always
money than he cares
working.
about his family.
Yeah. His
And
like giving Buddy the
even his
lore.
wife earlier on was like talking about like Michael, and he's like, well, it's no secret that you don't spend any time with him. I'm like, oh yeah, well, even the mom knows what's up.
Yep. But yeah, that's when we finally see it turn, and then they go to find Buddy, and right as Buddy's kind of looking out, ready to leave, do whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's contemplating suicide. He's standing on a bridge. We don't know what would have happened, but then he sees Santa's sleigh, and Santa's sleigh is going down, bro. I do kind of like this finale that happens in this movie because it ties it all back into like Christmas spirit, and it serves as a way to get all the characters in one place together and kind of make up, and we see them
Yeah.
really become a family.
Santa's
I
sleigh
think
has
it works
no
so well.
engine, no turbine, it's gone. That doesn't even matter when there's Christmas spirit.
Yeah, it's like,
He doesn't need
hey,
a freaking engine, bro. There's Christmas spirit, he's just gonna fly that bitch.
yeah. Well, I kind of love because Santa talks about how like, hey, before we had this turbine, we ran all on Christmas spirit. That was all we had, and it just kind of goes to show how like throughout the years and like development of technology and stuff, I feel like we have lost a little bit of like the magic of Christmas that also just happens with growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think it's kind of a cool subtle commentary on some of that, but it also is just funny to see the sleigh with all the reindeer like trying to get off the ground, but they can't quite do it.
Yeah, when the
And I
sleigh,
also
like,
love,
when he crashed, I was like, man, I'm glad all those reindeer survived. That's good.
I know that could have been ugly. Like, geez. I love that Santa whips out his actual book and is like proving to Michael. Michael's like, I wanted a skateboard, and Santa's like, not
Oh,
just any
not
skateboard,
just
right?
any skateboard. Now you wanted a real puff board.
Yeah. And he's like, go look in the bag. And Michael's like, whoa,
And then
he
then
got
the
it,
sleigh
baby.
rises. He's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's just like, what just happened? And Santa's like, you made my sleigh fly.
Because you believed in me. And then Michael runs to the reporter. I
He just
love
steals Santa's book, bro.
he just
And
steals it,
Santa's like, you better bring that back right now, Michael.
and he's just going. He's gone. I love the person that's getting interviewed about the things trying to flirt with the reporter.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude,
the
that's
reporter,
literally all he was doing, bro. He did not give a fuck about anything else. He was like, she was like, so, yeah, we got word that
what do you
something fell
see?
from the
He's
sky
like,
earlier, and the little girl, like, earlier on said Santa's sleigh. He's like, yeah, what did you see? And he's like, oh, you're a great reporter. And he's just
yeah,
like,
you've got a great mouth.
he
I
just like,
love that you tell the story how it is, Charlotte. Like, dang. That made me laugh.
what,
I
I
was
think,
cracking up.
what, didn't he say, like, you have a great mouth, but your eyes really tell the story or something like that?
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, this dude is trying to get some. Like when he
he
brings the book
definitely
and
was.
he's saying what like all these kids wanted, and it's showing them like watching. They're like, yeah, and then the reporter's just like, and he's like, what's your name? And then he goes and finds it. It's like, what she wants is for her boyfriend to finally admit
Yeah, her
and
boyfriend to stop being a dick and stop getting cold feet
yeah, stop getting cold feet and
over to
finally
whatever.
commit for once. And he's like, who told
Yeah.
you to say that?
Whoa. I also love when he
It's like it's the
I
real
forget
Santa.
I forget what he says, but he says something about like a grown man who's like in a bar with his friends.
Yeah,
That's kind of embarrassing. And the guy looks
it's
at his buddies and he's
Dirk
like,
something.
"What? What?"
It's
It's
like
I
it
wrote it
must be
down. It's
another
Dirk
Dirk,
Lawson.
whatever. It wasn't Dirk
Yeah,
Nowitzki,
must
I
be
know that.
another Dirk Lawson. Yeah,
Yeah, Lawson. Must be
yeah.
another Dirk Lawson.
It's
Can't
so
be me,
funny.
man. I don't want that.
And that's. I mean, I would never wish for that, boy. You know that, right? Right?
Right, right?
Yeah.
Need some more syrup, guys?
And then eventually, the play's got to get back in the air, and everyone is here by this point. Like the mom comes, Jovi sees it on the news and comes, finds everything, and they all start singing because the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Yeah, they set that
Such a
up
great
way early
callback.
on. Like when she's like, I can sing, I just don't like doing it, especially in front of people. And then like she's singing in the shower, and Buddy's being a
Mm-hmm.
creep and listening to her and
He's
singing
like,
along with it too.
yeah, I love how he's like, I think you have the most beautiful voice in the whole wide world, and it's like the creepiest thing ever. But
Yeah,
he's not meaning for it to be creepy. Like he's actually trying to show that he likes it. It's like, bro, oh my
yeah.
god,
I thought that was so funny though. She's like, yeah, she was like, "Why were you listening to me sing in the shower?" And she's like, "He was like, yeah, you have a beautiful voice." And she's like, "Are you sure it didn't have anything to do with me being naked in the shower?" And he's like, "I didn't know you were naked."
like what do you
How do
mean
you
you
take
didn't know?
showers in the North Pole, man?
They show him taking a shower, and I'm pretty sure he's naked in
He's
the North
shirtless
Pole.
at least.
Yeah, he's at least shirtless. So it's like, bro, what do you do?
Oh, earlier on too, when like he first gets to the home, and
Mhm.
the mom like comes down the next morning, and he's like, "I built a rocking horse," and she's like, "Oh, you built that? Where'd you get all the wood?" And it's just like all the wood is gone from everything around the living room. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Oh man, this movie's so fun. It still makes me laugh quite a few times, which I'm surprised by because I've seen it so much. I think it helps that it's a one time a year type of movie. Like you're only gonna watch it once around Christmas. Maybe you won't watch it every year. I do tend to watch this one pretty much every year at this point, but yeah, I love the ending. How they get the sleigh back in the air with Christmas spirit, and then it cuts to James Caan on the piano while Jovi's singing All Blank Time at New Year's. And I'm like, okay, James Caan, get it. Like, we didn't know you could play like that. And then they're opening presents and stuff. So it's so wholesome. That's what I love about it. It's so wholesome, but it still gives you those moments of like him calling Peter Dinklage an elf, where you're like, what? I didn't know we were doing this in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going there.
Yeah,
Oh, and when
I
they're in the
definitely.
group sing along, getting Santa's sleigh to fly again. When Michael looks over and just sees his dad like lip
Mm,
syncing,
yeah, that's the last piece
he's
that
like
has
really
to win.
singing, and he's like, I am. He's like, no, you're just moving your lips. So he's just like, ugh, and starts singing.
Fine. He starts to sing, and then that's kind of when it fully takes off and goes. I think it's such a great job with like James Caan's arc. Like everything works. Nothing happens really too fast. Like
Maybe
he
he's gonna be
stays
on the nice
pretty,
list now, man.
he stays pretty determined to be like, I'm James Caan and I'm serious and working throughout the movie. But they set up points where you feel like he does care about Buddy, he does care about Michael, and then when he sees his son and his son is like, bro, you only care about yourself. He's like, oh dang, and then he apologizes to Buddy. But even still, he's not fully singing out in the open yet. He needs his son to be like, come on, you can do it before he starts singing. So I
You
love
got
his
this, Pop.
character. Yeah, probably one of my favorite family relationships or like storylines in a movie between Buddy and his dad, Michael. I think it's so sweet. And I just really love it. Part of it is I'm such a James Caan fan. Again, rest in peace. Um, gone too soon. I mean, he was older, but it's always sad to lose a performer like that.
For sure. Yeah,
But
Elf. It's a great Christmas movie, and
Elf is a great Christmas movie.
I have started watching it pretty much every year now.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
I
fun one.
it's so fun. It's really short too. Like it is only 90 minutes, pretty much. It goes by quick. It's well paced. I think. It really like drags you into from the very start, like kind of framing it with Papa Elf telling the story, explaining everything to you, and then it goes back to that sort of like storytelling narrative at the end because it's like telling the story about how his dad like started his own publishing company and Buddy's story as his first book, and then it's like Buddy reading it at a read aloud for everyone. So it's just so well put together. It's so simple too. Like nothing is that like out there or experimental. Like they kind of take it pretty. It's pretty chalk, I would say, from what you'd expect like a movie like this. But it works for it. Like everything is just so well done, and it doesn't do more than. And that's why I always.
Yeah, I agree with all that. It's great. And if you, for some reason, haven't seen it and are listening to this, go watch it because
There's no
you
way.
should
There's
see
no
it.
way. Hell,
Everyone should
that
see
would.
this movie at least once.
That's true. What other Christmas movies? You said you watched Home Alone recently. I gotta rewatch.
Yeah, I watched Home
It's fun.
Alone, Nightmare Before Christmas. That's really all I've gotten around to this year. Yeah,
I need to watch more. I'll probably watch Klaus, which came out. That's more recent. That's already become like one of my favorite Christmas movies. I'll
it's
probably
really
watch.
good.
Yeah, I love Klaus. I'll probably watch Home Alone 1 and 2 if I get around.
Yeah, I still need to watch two.
I love the second one. There's some days I think I prefer the second one over the original. Just 'cause it's
I
so.
always prefer the first, but I like both of them.
No, that's fair. Trying to think. I just rewatched
You like the
Willy
second
Wonka.
one more some days because the second one is the one with Donald J. Trump.
That's true. Our great, truly great president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Wow, what a
Wow.
the movie star,
Put
the
Donald
movie
Trump on
star
the
Donald.
$200 bill.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Whew. I mean, Benjamin Franklin's on there as the 100. He wasn't even president, so What are we doing?
Hey, father of electricity, though, man. You got to give him some props.
He is the father of electricity, and he was from Philly. So speaking of Philly, oh my God, my Eagles gonna get a win. I'm gonna like actually just
Man, yeah,
end my
your Eagles
life.
are looking rough.
Losing
Oh,
to Drew Lock
hey, the
is
Patriots
so
are 3 and
embarrassing.
11, so
That's true.
I'm kind of
As far
upset
as
they
the
beat the
Eagles,
Steelers now since the Panthers decided to win. Like, wow,
the
wow.
Panthers
The
won a
Patriots might be
game.
the number one draft pick right now if they would have lost to the Steelers. I don't even know if the Steelers are going to win another game though.
No, the Steelers look really.
They look so
Um,
bad.
yeah, this is.
Oh,
I mean, I say it. I feel like I say it about Mike Tomlin like every year, and then he somehow still finds a way to beat 500. But this could be it for the streak. They do not look capable of winning.
I think it could be Zoo, and they were 7 and 5, which is wild. I
Yeah.
think they might just lose
Um,
out.
the Browns somehow are winning games with Joe Flacco. The Bengals are winning games with
Joe Flacco's the goat, man. He
Joe Flacco.
Super
Loki is
Bowl
the GOAT.
winner, Joe Flacco, bro.
Super Bowl MVP, Joe Flacco. He
Oh, he
was
got
incredible that.
MVP. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He was incredible that postseason. I don't know the exact stats, but I think he had like 12 touchdowns to one pick or something. Like he had a great postseason
Maybe he
run.
just like thrives in the AFC North, like that division. Something about it just makes him like good.
Yeah, that's true. Love Joe Flacco. What a legend. Don't know how he's still in the league and winning games for the Cleveland Browns, but I'm excited
What's
to see what
happening?
happens in the. I'm excited to see what happens in the AFC South because literally like three teams are 8-6 right now. The Jaguars look kind of iffy to say the least. The
What?
Ravens are a really good team.
Yeah, I don't know if the Jaguars. Well, they probably play. I know they play the Texans twice. They probably play the Colts again, don't they? The
I
Colts
think
might play both of those teams again.
I think so. I don't know. Loki wouldn't be surprised if the Colts somehow win that division. Like I just think they're kind of on a hot streak. But also the Texans just won a game without CJ Stroud, which was super crucial. They're gonna get Stroud back. He just had a concussion, so like who knows? That division is
Yeah,
fun.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm interested to see. I'm ready for the playoffs. We're like what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
I'm very ready for the playoffs. I feel like personally to me, this has been one of the seasons I've been the least in the NFL regular season. I think a lot of it is just the injuries. Like there's been so many brutal injuries. Um, and also it's just been kind of a rough, like I hate saying it's been a rough year as an Eagles fan because they are still 10-4 and have a good chance to win out. But it's like they haven't looked that impressive against the teams they've beaten. Now they've lost three in a row. I'm over dramatic, so it's just like, oh my God, this is the worst. But we'll see. I think the Ravens could win the AFC. I think if they stay healthy, I don't know who's beating them. I always trust Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the playoffs, but that receiver core is just so
Yeah.
bad.
Dude, the
So
Ravens 49ers play on Christmas night. That could potentially be the Super Bowl again.
that could potentially be the Super Bowl. That would be a good Super Bowl.
It would be.
And
And if we see a Super Bowl rematch, I'd prefer to see that than 49ers versus Chiefs.
I agree. I do feel like this 49ers team to win a ring, like at some point here. Like this Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Debo, Trent Williams with like Fred Warner on defense. They've been so close for so many years, haven't gotten it done. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year, especially with the NFC. I feel like every contender in the NFC is either inconsistent or has critical problems. Like the Eagles are treading water. The Cowboys are the Cowboys, although they have looked solid. They just lost to the Bills. I like the Lions a lot. I'm excited for their success, but I also don't believe in them being consistent enough and having the experience to win multiple playoff games. So I think the 49ers have a really good shot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see anyone beating the 49ers, like, to me, right now.
They just, they
I've
look
kind of been
so
saying it
good.
since the beginning of the season. Then they had that little rough patch where they lost a few games. They had some injuries. If they
That was really
at
it.
least
Those three,
mostly stay healthy and don't lose
yeah,
like any big pieces, then I think you don't see a team beating them. I just don't. They have so
I
much
agree
talent,
because
it's ridiculous. And they've had
they
that
have
same
so much
talent for
talent.
years, so the chemistry is there. It's like everything is there
Mhm.
for a Super Bowl.
It is. They have the coach. I think Kyle Shanahan is maybe, or I mean, up there with Andy Reid, the best offensive mind in the game. Sean McVay is also still a great coach. The Rams, if the Rams sneak into the playoffs, they're a dangerous team to see in like the wild card round. I
Aren't
would
they in
not
the
want to
playoffs
see,
right now? They might win out, so they might just stay in.
yeah, uh, they might be in the playoffs. I don't know how it is. I know they're close. They're at least on that bubble. They might win out. I would not want to see the Sean McVay Rams in a wild card game right now. That team could upset somebody. Um, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. Playoffs are always hype. I'm excited for the college football playoffs, even though I wish it was more than 14. The 14 they have are going to be good matchups. Michigan, Alabama should be great. Texas, Washington. There's some good football up ahead, so I'm excited.
Looking forward to it. It's what we got
Yeah,
coming after Christmas.
yeah. We'll probably be doing a Willy
Yeah.
episode. I just rewatched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I've seen Wonka. You're going to see it after we record this, correct?
Yeah, I should be
Or
seeing it tonight.
nice.
Later, sometime today.
Um, yeah. I mean, I'll save my thoughts on Wonka and that for the episode, but I'm excited to do it. I'm also going to be watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for the first time, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, what we got.
We'll be back with the Chocolate Factory movies.
Yeah, so true. Good to talk to you, man. We'll be back next time.
Always good.